So again, which one of my facts was wrong? Which one of my facts was wrong? 37% of violent crime done by African Americans, 37% of victims of police shootings African American. Which part of those facts is wrong?
The entire thing. They're not facts.
They're not facts.
They're not facts, Adam. Numbers and statistics are not facts unless you appropriate the right amount of feels into it.
Well, you have to contextualize them. You have to wrap them up in a nice, warm, fuzzy blanket of feelings. It's like, do you feel that this could be correct? And if it doesn't, if it doesn't feel that way, then of course, toss it out.
So a fact isn't a fact unless after you say the fact, you give the whole because of the history of systemic racism, oppression, blah, 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 blah. Like you need like to have like a cue card. It's so funny because Sam Harris has literally talked about this exact same thing. It's like whenever you say something, you have to have a cue card where you end every sentence with because of the history of systemic oppression and race. Like it's just like, can we just acknowledge that that in some conversations where you know you're not talking to like a horrible racist white supremacist, which TJump has already demonstrated, okay, that you're assuming good faith on his part. You're assuming he has already specifically said he agrees with you on these points. He doesn't need to spell it out every time he says something.
Yeah.
What? They're literally from the FBI crime stats.
Holy
like, how
shit,
are they
dude.
not facts?
It's impossible for you to contextualize them. It's like you're looking at them
I'm
the
not
way
contextualizing. They're just facts.
I know you're not contextualizing them. It's
what is to contextualize about that 37 and 37? It seems like
the reason for why there's the number is what he's getting at. But the problem is that has nothing to do, again, has literally nothing to do with TJump's point, and it has nothing to do with the argument of whether the police are individually racist and that's why they're shooting black people at a disproportionate amount, which is what TJump's point entirely is about.
Yeah.
It's very inappropriate to not contextualize
you can't
something.
say a fact is wrong because I didn't contextualize it. It's still a fact. It's still true.
But it doesn't. No. But the fact doesn't. If you contextualize it, it doesn't say the same thing, right? Because it's like saying, are you familiar with basketball? It's like saying, look, this person shot 30 times. Okay, they made 30 field goal attempts, and they made 20 of them.
My image is frozen. Is your image frozen?
It's bugging out. You want to refresh
an amazing
the,
shot.
Watch together?
But if you take into,
I'm scared.
You think it's watch together, or is it the YouTube video?
I don't know. It might be the YouTube video.
The fact that they were within 5 feet, that makes it not as impressive as if they were in the areas, but also.
So he's adding a third factor.
The number of police wouldn't make a difference.
Okay, I guess it's just the YouTube video then. Yeah. So.
That are abhorrent to 20 of them. They are an amazing shot. But if you take into the fact that they were within 5 feet, that makes it not as impressive as if they were.
So he's trying to add this third factor so he can insert this third factor of racism.
Yeah, but see, it's totally irrelevant because
it is
even under his example. Okay, if you're gonna say this kicker made 100% of his field goal attempts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you say, but wait a minute, if you actually look at it, 90% of his field goal attempts were from 5 yards away, so it's not that impressive or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Say, okay, that's true, but it's also true that he made 100% of his field goal attempts. Like they're both facts.
Yes.
One of them doesn't cease being a fact because you want to add some extra context to it.
Yeah, exactly.
They were like 15 feet away from the hoop. This is a big deal, or maybe.
I thought he said field goal. How did we get to hoops?
His basketball analogy was the one he was using. You were using field goal.
Oh, I thought he said field goal.
You got it wrong. Wrong.
So I'm so sorry. I used the wrong sport.
Baseball, or maybe you don't like sports at all. Maybe parkour doesn't have stats. Otherwise, I'd give them to you. But like, I just, you have to add context to stats, or they're just.
You have to add context. You see, if you don't add the context of racism, then we can't make this narrative.
So, according to Bad Dragonite, which is a funny name, for $1, says, according to Statistia, the total amount of people shot by police, so it's total amount, not unarmed people, in 2018 was 996, with 399 being white and 209 being black. So 52.38% as many as whites who got shot. And then for another $1, he says, according to the FBI, also 2018, a total of 200,000 violent crimes were committed and 6,000 murders. White people committed about 168,000 violent crimes, 2,000 murders, and black people committed about 121,000 violent crimes and about 4,000 murders. So that's about a 71% and 148% increase from the black population.
Man,
according to Brad Dragonite.
That sucks.
So this is the problem, is that you can talk about why those numbers are increased, and you should talk about that. But first you have to at least acknowledge that the numbers are increased before you can get anywhere in the conversation.
Yeah.
Just numbers floating around that you can make say whatever you want. To not take into account any systemic issues at all with these statistics is fucking abhorrent, and it's lazy.
No, it's just the facts.
Not justifying the facts. Not justifying the narrative is abhorrent and lazy.
Well, it's so obvious that he's like virtue signaling so hard right now.
Yeah.
Like you just, it's like you can't mention these things. Again, you can't mention these things without saying, because of a history of systemic violence, you're just not allowed. You're not allowed. It's all virtue signaling.
I love that we got virtue signaling. That's such a good term.
Perfect term.
It isn't just the facts.
It's irrelevant to the data. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's completely gibberish nonsense.
No, it's like
nothing
saying
you said is relevant.
It's like looking at temperatures that range from 1900 to 2000.
Here, let me virtue signal about climate change a little bit here, guys. Watch this.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And not taking into account the factors that would increase the global temperature. She's going, I guess the Earth's just getting warmer.
It's not like that at all.
It literally is, because if you just look at the numbers of heat,
guys, I believe climate change is real. Watch.
Gotta hit all the things. We'll see. But wait, here's the problem. This is why this is so stupid. Because again, his example proves him wrong. Okay. You could say, like, oh, average temperature has increased or decreased, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, one of those is a fact. And then you can extrapolate further arguments after that fact has been stated about how that applies to global warming or doesn't apply to global warming and the reasons. Okay.
Context.
But you still gotta admit to the fact in the first place. You still gotta admit to the numbers in the first place, Jay.
Right. Then you can move on to the reasons.
Yes.
States, just the United States. If you just look at,
I think he's bringing this up because he's now he's fishing for anything to disagree with TJump on, so he can actually let's just make this debate about climate change right here on the fly. You disagree on climate change?
Well, and he's virtue signaling because it's like, oh, it's you got to hit all the Jake leftist talking points.
I may be losing on the Black Lives Matter debate, guys, but I'm good when it comes to climate change.
Right.
If you just look at temperatures from 1900 to 2000,
this isn't supporting your position at all. You're 100%.
It's not gibberish. I think you need to listen.
What you just said.
Thank God Tom cut him off. He's like, why are we talking about climate change?
I know.
There are
I think you need to listen.
Published papers.
It doesn't matter because there's also published papers that disagree with that.
Fine,
so I mean,
to me. What are they?
It's like it just.
Because I've looked at them. They're not.
They're not.
Yeah, I've looked at them. I found these papers. I've been looking at them all the time. These 4 papers I have are the most cited.
Do you want to? So do you agree or disagree that it would be irresponsible to just say the Earth is getting warmer? We don't know why.
He loves this climate change diversion. He's like, I'm losing on Black Lives Matter. Let's move over to climate change.
Or do you think it might be important to contextualize things in regards to global warming when it comes to the statistic of the overall heat of the Earth growing, right? Like, I think it would be very
warmer. Like, we know why it's getting warmer, and we know why
because you put it in
policed more because
you put it in context.
Yes, there is a cause.
And I just told you that you need to add context to it. I just
added the context. You're trying to add gibberish context that doesn't matter.
It's not gibberish context to add systemic to tell you that there is systemic reasoning behind the idea that they're overpoliced.
Doesn't in any way change the position, because I didn't say anything.
It 100% does.
If there is more crime in an area, the area is going to be more policed. That is the cause. And if the area is more policed, that's going to lead to more police.
It's correlation.
Obviously. That's causation. That's literally causation. If there's more crime, there will be more police. Causation.
Do you disagree with that, Sitch? More crime, more police?
No, I don't Of course.
What's there to disagree?
What's to disagree? I mean, again, because this
I'm not
goes
crazy.
this goes off of Jake's completely ass-pulled theory that like there's a plethora, an epidemic of white violent crime going on in America that is just not being talked about by the police, the media. I was just a victim of an unreported white crime right there.
Yeah.
That's what just happened.
Yeah, totally.
It was
I
being
had a
covered
good
up.
joke lined up too. Damn it, I can't remember what it
Damn
was.
it.
Such a
Oh, wow.
great joke lined up.
And if there's more police, there's going to be more police shootings. Causation.
Oh, I remember the joke.
Okay.
Tell me, Sitch, what
Yes.
if the violent crime, though, is justifiable violent crime from years of systemic oppression? Then should the police that justifiable violent crime? Or
Adam, I'm glad you brought that up.
okay. I think it's
Because
it's a cogent argument.
This is a very cogent argument. The statistics have not looked into justifiable violent crime. They just blanket all violent crime together. But what about the justified violent crime?
I know we need to separate those out. The justified violent crime.
We do. Yes.
How do we justify violent crime though?
Well, there'll be two. There'll be the individually justified violent crime, and there'll be the systemically history of oppression justified violent crime.
Oh, okay.
So,
will the judicial system take this into account?
hopefully not. It'll just be for the statistical data, so assholes on the internet can argue about it.
Oh, good.
Okay.
The
It won't have
problem
any
is
real
the amount
impact.
of crime.
No real impact is the way I like
Yes.
things. I don't like my political movements to have impact.
Not the police.
The problem is, so you're putting an inherent amount of crime on black individuals.
No, I'm putting an inherent amount of crime on certain in certain communities that
Okay, wait a minute. So this is so disgusting. It's so disingenuous.
Mhm.
Okay.
You're saying
Tom
black people
has-
are violent.
Yeah, Tom has already agreed earlier in the conversation with Jake about the potential reasons and the potential context for crime. He's not saying that there's some inherent thing about, black people just inherently genetically cause more crime. He's completely not said that. He completely said the opposite of that. But Jake, this is his only tactic. He's got to go like, oh, he's a racist. Got to paint him as a racist.
Yeah. Oh, it's so bad. So disgusting. People don't care anymore, though. This is the boy that cried wolf on steroids, because nobody even cares if they're called a racist now. Like, who cares? It's so nobody gives a fuck, because you've done it so much to so many people who are not remotely racist that nobody believes you anymore.
that have an inherent amount of crime.
Okay, so
there is this amount of crime in this community, which is a measurable
and
thing.
again,
We
it's
can
a
use the
systemic
statistics.
cause. Do you agree?
Yes, there are lots of causes
Okay,
that we need to address, which is not the police.
And that is what Black
policy.
Lives Matter is approaching, and that's why it's important. That's why it's not an all lives matter situation. You just agreed with.
They're approaching, Adam, they haven't got there. They're approaching it. Okay.
Right.
It's like a far off journey, far away, distant star. They're approaching it. They're not there yet, but they're approaching it.
They're working up to the justifiable violent crime argument. They're tiptoeing up to it. They really want to get close to it.
No, it is an all lives matter because it does affect all lives. It is, and I said before that there are
Black
lots of
Lives
things
Matter
Black
doesn't
Lives-
discount all lives, for the record. What Black Lives Matter does is it says, please shine a spotlight on this aspect of pain that a specific minority group in the United States is.
I hate all lives matter. How about you, Sitch?
It depends, because it's obviously used in different contexts. You have to contextualize it, Adam. You have to contextualize it, Adam. Okay.
Well, you're literally saying Hitler mattered then. I mean, all lives matter? Come on.
I got you.
Come on. Come on.
I see what you're saying.
We vote people off the island for a reason. Because they're violent fucking criminals.
That's true. All lives don't matter. If you're a violent criminal, you don't matter. I don't care.
There are people out there, fuck those. Pedos' lives matter? Fuck them.
No,
castrate
don't
them and
matter.
kill them.
experiencing. I'm sure you've heard it before, but it's like saying, my hand is bleeding. You go, I don't know, all limbs matter, but the bleeding in the hand has to be addressed, or you just
Destroyed. Stunning argument. All limbs matter.
I know. What a stupid. Well, it's also not even applicable to the situation, because it'd be like if your hand was stabbed and then also on your right, and also your left hand and left foot were also stabbed and bleeding. And you're like, well, let's only look at the bleeding in my right hand.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. It's even a bad analogy.
So dumb.
just bleed out. You need to make sure that you address this point. Yes, we agree. You also need your left hand if your right hand is bleeding. No one disagrees
that wasn't
with
any
that.
part of my objection.
One
My
thing I'm
objection
going to
was
do is just because we are at a fiery point. I mean,
This feels like Jake has watched a lot of Destiny or Vosh debates because, you know, they always go to analogies. But the whole point, he doesn't understand. The whole point of going to analogy is to distill a single variable from your argument and focus on it. And I don't think Jake understands that. He's just throwing out every analogy you can think of, even if it makes absolutely no fucking sense.